to a new edition for 2015. This is the Honda Civic Sport. Now don't go mistaking this for a modern day Honda Civic Type S, which obviously was a watered down version of the Type R. What this actually is a new grade within the Honda Civic range. So sitting below the SR trim level, you now have Sport. Things kick off at just over £19,000, and what you get for your money is altered bumpers, headlights, these slightly more sculpted seats in here, new little interior touches like these inserts, and an overall aesthetic which actually really sharpens up the Civic. I mean, some people have criticised the Civic's appearance in the past, but I think particularly in this blue, imaginatively named Sporty Blue, I think it looks really, really sharp. I think this is the Civic in its best light, most definitely. This grade gives you 17-inch alloy wheels, as I may have mentioned. In tandem with the blue, the black alloy wheels just really make this car look the business. Now, this sports grade, like I say, is a trim level. It doesn't add any performance to the car whatsoever. That's not necessarily a bad thing, because you still have the option of petrol and diesel engines. What we have here is the very highly praised 1.6 diesel, which claims 76 mpg combined. Those figures actually you can get close to in the real world. That's the thing with Honda. They're brilliantly honest about things like that. That, or they're just much better at maths than everyone else. You choose. So, what is the car like to drive? Well, the diesel engine has plenty of torque. It's a really nice, usable engine. And once you get underway, things really do quieten down. It's nice and quite tranquil in the cabin. There are thicker sills and things in the car for 2015, so the overall cabin noise has been reduced slightly. That said, these 17-inch alloy wheels do increase road noise, so swings and roundabouts as far as that's concerned. Something else the 2015 models have got is alterations to suspension. The handling has improved, and that's also greatly in part to the increased weighting of the steering wheel. Adds a new level of precision and accuracy, and actually adds a bit more driver involvement. That's definitely in a bid to get a bit closer to the class-leading Ford Focus. In this specific car, we have the 6-speed manual transmission, which is a really nice slick motion gearbox. Clutch is nice and light. The car's very forgiving and very easy to use. Building on what I said about the changes to the chassis, the overall dynamics of the car have improved. What we have now is a car that's actually a reasonable amount of fun to start throwing around. It handles body roll very, very well, corners quite flat, and it also has something called Agile Handling Assist. Now read that as a form of torque vectoring, because into tight corners what happens is the inside brakes just pinch very slightly, and what it does is it pulls the car in and adjusts the pitch of the car around the corner effectively. End result is, for the person behind the wheel, that the car feels much more agile. Don't get me wrong, you can't notice the brakes coming on one side of the car, but it does give the car a slightly pointier demeanour than what it has had previously. Now, all Honda Civics have actually received a slight price drop this year. I think like-for-like models are about £1,600 cheaper, which is good, because the Civic has always been a slightly more expensive option over its competitors. You'd argue that perhaps you're buying better build quality, or a car that's going to certainly hold its value better than a lot of its competitors. But obviously this makes it more competitive within its environment, which is great. This year you also get some really quite good safety features on the car, including a system which will stop you from having an accident at speeds up to 19 miles an hour. So that, say for example, that I'm not paying attention to the traffic ahead of me and it comes to a stop, up to 19 miles an hour the car will perform an emergency stop for me, preventing that sort of accident, which is fantastic. And as the stop-start kicks in, that's the perfect time for me to mention that the 2015 Honda Civic as a whole, across all of its models, is fantastic choice and a very worthy competitor to the Ford Focus. The handling, added sharpness, okay, it's not quite as enjoyable to drive as a Focus, but to 98% of owners, that really won't matter. What we have here is a fantastically polished package over the 2014 model, which brought in a lot of changes as well. And the Sport model really adds that extra allure, that extra appeal to the Honda Civic, which some may have said that it needed. Something which is new to a lot of Hondas this year is this touchscreen infotainment system. It's Android based, it's completely customizable, which is really nice because you can add all your radio widgets or phone functionality to the home screen and arrange it exactly how you want it. So instead of going, oh, where's that button, like this console did used to be sort of peppered with many buttons, you now go, oh, okay, that's exactly where I've put it, and sort of tailoring the home screen to you, sort of, it makes it much more intuitive. I'm not the world's biggest fan of Android, but this system is actually quite easy to use, it's relatively responsive, and it's a big step up over what we expect from a lot of cars. You know, this movement into mobile operating systems for infotainment is definitely the way forwards. Something else which is quite nice about the Honda Civic is that it has bags of boot space. It has those clever magic seats at the back which fold up like cinema seats if you want to slot stuff in the back, large items, as well as retain your boot space. And also the rear doors open really wide, which is excellent for putting child seats in, or even just loading the back up with those previously mentioned bulky items.